running our web presence and that type of thing. But the other businesses that I looked at were, there was a handyman business, there was an electrical business, and all of those would have involved me having to, not only while we were going through the immigration, relocation and everything else, I would have had to go back to school and get a qualification. My electrical qualifications from the UK weren't valid here. And for any handyman business, that if you wanted to take on any decent sized projects, you had to have a general contractor's license, and all of those involve college courses, which would just have set me back even further. So those were major factors for me.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it really does. Well, and you knew that you looked at the franchises you looked at were all in alignment with what your experiences were, correct? So that's why you looked at.
Yes.
Okay.
I went to a franchise consultant, and I found a franchise consultant online, and between us, he obviously had the experience and asked me various questions and what type of business, what certain parameters that I was looking for. For instance, I had very, very little experience, but I knew, well, I had experience in managing people, so I wasn't concerned there. I didn't want to be in the food service business. I didn't want to be in a storefront, traditional storefront style business. I wanted something that the internet couldn't put me out of business.
That's smart.
Yeah, so that was why I was kind of looking towards service industry. So it came at me with 5 or 6, I don't remember exactly, but 5 or 6 different franchise offerings from very good companies. It just so happened that the more I did my investigation and eliminated them one by one, I came back to fish. As I said at the beginning, I set fish aside, and I said, I'm not going to spend this money on a franchise to clean windows. But I came back to it because I said, I have to take a second look at this. And the more I did my investigation, the more I thought, this fits. This is actually, it's exactly what I was looking for. It's a simple business with a good support system, and I could do this.
And it has served you well. No regrets, right?
No,
Awesome.
none at all. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if our listeners picked up on what you said, and because Richard and I, like I said, we've kind of been dabbled a little bit into learning what franchisees and franchisors go through over the last few years. We were actually asked to speak 2 years ago at Franchise Expos on social media marketing and different marketing tips and techniques. And it's been an eye-opener for us to take a look at all the different opportunities there. But you said something that everyone should actually take into consideration when they're thinking of opening a business, especially a franchise, is to find a franchise consultant, because there are a number of highly qualified people that we've met over the years.
Yeah, because I remember when we went down to the Franchise Expo, I think it was in Fort Lauderdale.
That was the very first
time,
one.
about 3-ish years ago, maybe a little over 3 years ago. There was one person there that was doing franchise consulting.
Really?
There was just in the whole expo, and there had to be 300 or 400 franchises that were in the whole auditorium down there at the port in Fort Lauderdale. I mean, it's a big space.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
On that, and there was just one. Then this last year, the one we went to, there were 5 or 6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
that were out there now.
Very wise to use.
Doing their thing. So obviously, the message has gotten out to entrepreneurs that have contacts within the different franchises. And
oh, it definitely makes sense. I mean, he held my hand through the process, and we made sure that we found businesses for me to look at that were going to be good fits for me. And then it was down to me and my family, myself and me. So
that's a huge tip for those of our listeners that may be looking at something along this line. Definitely find a good consultant that is, very knowledgeable in the franchise industries. And there's a number of them listed online. And check their referrals out, because that's who you really want to tap into to make sure that they're there to help you.
Yes.
Really make sure you make the right decision. Is there a specific type of product that you use, or, what makes fish window cleaning the choice for the Space Coast here?
Is there a secret sauce,
Sauce, yeah.
inside that water that you're wiping down with?
I don't think that's allowed to be broadcast. I mean, I don't think
The secret sauce that stays with Ian.
it's actually funny. That's we get this. My cleaners get this on a daily basis. Everyone thinks that we use a secret sauce or some kind of magical potion, and it's not that. It's
elbow grease, right?
It's elbow grease. It's good tools and good technique. You have to learn properly. Anyone can clean a window. To make it really look clean, you have to do it properly, like anything else in life. And it's good tools and good technique. And we teach everyone good technique, and we let them go by themselves only after they've proven that under their team lead that they're good to go.
That's a good question. So do you have a specific type of training that you do for those that you hire?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've got we run our background checks to make sure that everyone is. We call it the granny test. No one would be allowed in your home that wouldn't be allowed in my granny's home.
I like that.
So it's we do that. We put them through a minimum of 2 weeks training side by side with an experienced cleaner, and they're. By then, if they're getting the hang of it after 2 weeks, then we may start to assign them a few smaller jobs by themselves, and then we just follow up with the clients and go and inspect the jobs. And then within the first 3 to 4 weeks, they should be pretty much out there by themselves, being able to do the root work, the normal storefront, strip malls, that type of thing. And then it takes a few more weeks, normally a couple of months, before we'll transition a guy that's a person who's been doing that onto residential, just because residential is so much more detailed. Someone, they're inviting us into their home, they're taking time off from their work that day, so there's just a lot of more smaller touches. We wear our shoe covers, we've got our booties with our name on them, and we've got... You've got so many different types of windows and different little tips and tricks to open them or disassemble them or various things that can come into play. And then, of course, during the whole process, we're continually working on safety. So safety's number one. Good
to hear. So who are some of your clients here on the Space Coast?
Oh, we're very fortunate. We clean many of the car dealerships, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi. They've just got their new Porsche showroom there, which
that's nice.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful when it's all glass.
I was at an event there.
More glass.
We do. We have Embraer, the the Brazilian jet manufacturer there at Melbourne Airport. We actually clean Melbourne Airport itself. We've been doing that for a few years.
That would be a massive job with all the glass that's in the terminal.
That's a pretty nice one too, yeah. And we've had the last couple of years the new buildings that have gone up for Northrop Grumman there out at their parcel at the airport. We've been involved in the construction cleanup over there. So we've been very fortunate and we do everything from little storefronts to restaurants, Squid Lips, Scots on Fifth.
Squid Lips, that's what we met.
Lots and lots. Oh, really?
We met at Squid Lips, yes. Yeah. There's an old phone booth in there. The phone is not in there any longer, but that's where we met, in the phone booth. That's another story for another show. I know our listeners really want to hear this because we mentioned that a couple times on a radio show. But yeah, cool places.
Sounds like a good story.
I understand that you also are the only window cleaning company recommended by the shops out at the Avenue, right?
Yes, yeah,
That's awesome.
Thanks for reminding me.
That is awesome.
That was the management at the Avenues reached out to me a couple of months ago and said that he had heard that we were servicing a lot of the clientele out there and they were very happy, and would we mind if he was to give our information out to new tenants and things? And of course I was honoured. I was like, wow.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, we've picked up a couple of new accounts through that, just because Scott was just so kind to do that for us.
I mean, and again, and it's because you have an awesome reputation. People know you here. You've been active in the community. You've been involved, and you've connected with some great partners that also have great reputations. So
Yes,
definitely,
yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's about it's all about, you know, getting to know people, getting to be involved, and doing what you can to try and help out in your community.
Well, what I'm hearing is, I mean, that to me, it's all been through networking and word of mouth marketing is how you've really grown. And of course, you have your franchise that probably does refer business to you if something comes through the website, or do they forward those leads to you? Or
Yes.
well?
The franchise does great work for us for our online presence.
again, another plus to be involved with the franchise.
Yeah. That's, you know, these are all things that if it was left to me myself, yes, of course I would have to go and hire someone to do it for me. So in this case, it's included as part of my deal, and I couldn't be happier with how they do it. They do a phenomenal job. The bottom line is it makes the phone ring, and it does. I get leads, I get business through it, so it's worth paying for.
That's what's important.
Yeah,
That's what's important, getting the business.
Is there one tip that you could provide someone that really is listening and is out there and they know that they want to start a business? What would your tip be? I mean, you went into the franchise, but, you know, could you provide some kind of insight for them and help them get started?
Yeah, if it was someone like me who was comfortable in dealing with people, but perhaps had no experience in running their own business, with no hesitation, I would say franchise. Go online, find a franchise consultant. They'll walk you through the process, and they'll find companies that fit with your model, that fit with your lifestyle of what you would like it to be. The franchising for me has worked. I think it's done very well. It's taken so much stress off my shoulders that I would probably just the little everyday things that would just be another job on my plate that I would have to worry about.
You know, even for, like I say, a very small business or micro business like ours, on that, there's a lot to do to prepare brochures, keep the website updated, do some videos once in a while, and get all this stuff moving. And you know, it does take a lot of time. The work's not hard, but it does take time.
Yeah. There's no one considers the amount of little things that go into running any business. I have the simplest business in the world. It's window cleaning, but there's day by day. I don't clean windows. I have a team of guys that do that. I'm fortunate enough now that I don't, but for many years I did. But I'm still working a full-time job because there's so many things that have to be done day by day, and people don't really see that. I think many of us, I know I did, underestimate the amount of work that's going to be involved.
Tell me about it.
I would suggest that anybody listening to this broadcast that's thinking about it, to call you as the consultant on what needs to be done here.
Well, then I'd have to start looking for the same kind of fees that consultants can charge.
I was going to say.
I didn't say anything about that. I left that wide open.
The consultant didn't cost me a penny. I have to say that. That's, yeah, he was. They don't cost. I guess the franchisor pays their fees.
Oh wow,
Yes.
that is interesting. I guess who they've affiliated with, possibly if they bring them into a franchise, they actually kind of like how a staffing company works, possibly, or they get that is awesome. Yeah. So, well, that brings a question here. That is there a way that they help you with your investment? Do they have, with the franchise? We actually just went and saw the movie on McDonald's at the theaters right now. It's an interesting concept.
You definitely need to go do that.
I want to see that one.
And I just wasn't sure when you actually do decide to purchase or get into a franchise, do they have a system set up to help you with your investment or financing?
I'm sure they do. I know Fish has various ways of organizing financing. For me, because I was buying my business for my visa, I had